Hello, I'm Alexandra Sleator, Career Accelerator. And that means that working together, you'll realize your career aspirations faster than you would on your own. Together we can work on a very broad range of challenges. Of course, we can help you progress your career, and that means we can work together to articulate a strategy that will ensure that you win a promotion that you deserve. But we can also help you repackage your skills so that you can make a bid for a new role, a different role. We can of course help you here and now in your career by helping you notably work and refine on fundamental skills such as change management, motivating your team, handling conflict, developing your leadership presence, to just name a few. And finally, last but not least, we can help you transition your career. And that can mean, for example, making a successful return to the workforce if you've had a break. But it can also mean helping you to redefine success and embark on a new career altogether. The point is that working together in a time and cost-efficient way, you will achieve your career objectives faster than you would on your own. So hello and welcome to a little bit of a talk on the subject of diversity. Many of you have shared with me that the topic of diversity, of inclusion, and therefore the topics of discrimination are quite hot topics in many of your workplaces. And so I thought I would devote this video, but as well the next one, to sharing with you my thoughts around a crucial and delicate topic like diversity. And in particular, what I'd like to hopefully offer food for thought on is why do we find diversity so challenging in the first place? And what are the tools that we can then use if we would like to progress and be more in a place of diversity? How can we go about being diversity and not just talking about it and feeling that it's so hard? Diversity is a relatively recent concept in the corporate world, but in fact I want to suggest to you that it's a concept that has been present throughout human history. Let's just think not to such a distant past, but the struggle against apartheid in South Africa. It was a struggle to end racial segregation, but it was really about diversity and the end to discrimination, even though the word diversity was not used at that time. Similarly, the US Civil Rights Movement, which had a very important anniversary just last August with the March on Washington, is completely about diversity and again an end to racial discrimination. So diversity is part and parcel of human history and of a lot of our struggles. But in the corporate world, it's a recent concept and it's a difficult concept. People seem to feel uncomfortable about it. And so here I want to talk to you about the diversity which will allow two colleagues, in fact more than two colleagues, but at least two colleagues sharing the same workplace to both recognize, but of course as well value their individual differences. And what differences are we talking about? To me, diversity is the challenge of reaching out to somebody that we perceive as different. And so it's any kind of difference. But often associated to the theme of diversity are issues around race, gender, ethnicity, sexual orientation, religious beliefs, but also political beliefs and any form of beliefs. Issues around ability, notably physical abilities, but also intellectual, as well as differences in socio and economic statuses. But again, I want to suggest that diversity is a challenge the minute that we find that we're not naturally comfortable with someone else and that we see them as more different to us than rather similar. And so in this video, I want to take you on an inner journey. A journey that will look at what you tell yourself when you're in the presence of someone that feels different. And then in the next video we will look at how to construct a conversation with that someone. And indeed I see that diversity is a mindset of curiosity, as well as a process of exploration. It's a mindset of curiosity about somebody else's unique attributes. And then it's a process of exploring in a non-judgmental fashion those differences between two people and having a chance to learn about them. So let me take you on this inner journey, that will help you develop, if you so wish, of course, a mindset of curiosity. A journey that starts with fear but ends with appreciation. So the first step on our journey is indeed starting from a place of fear. And in each of the steps I will ask you to consider what I believe are fundamental questions that hopefully will generate for you insight into what's going on and what's holding you back, what's preventing you from being curious about somebody else's unique qualities, and what's holding you back from exploring with them a relationship. So in that place of fear, the three questions I want to suggest to you are the following. What do I fear from this person? What might I be avoiding admitting to myself? What do I fear learning about myself? And here let me share a story to illustrate how these questions can be relevant in a situation where diversity is a challenge. As some of you who know my profile may already know, I went to study in the United States. And the city in the US where I lived had quite a large black population, and certainly I had not had that experience before. I noticed that when I was sometimes in the streets, I was feeling anxious around the black folks who were, also on the sidewalk with me. I was able to realize that this anxiety came from having watched a lot of American TV shows in the 70s, where it so happened that the quote-unquote bad guys were systematically black. And so the fear that I had was a very physical fear. For example, it was the fear of being mocked, like I had seen done on TV. Now, how did I feel about that? Well, rather ashamed. It was not pleasant to admit to myself that I had been unconsciously biased by watching TV. But that happens quite frequently. And while, again, this experience of realizing my negative unconscious bias was, not particularly pleasant, it was, however, quite liberating. It was a first step towards opening my mind. So understanding the root cause of what we may be afraid of when it comes to someone else that we feel is different from us is the first constructive step to take. Now, step 2 on your journey is progressing to a position of wariness. And here let me invite you to ask yourself the following questions. Might this person view me negatively? Might I get it wrong, say or do the wrong thing? How open and honest can I be? And indeed, what often happens is that when we perceive someone to be different from us, chances are that they too will experience us as rather different. And so it is possible that they too will have biases or stereotypes. But it's important to honor that difference, that realization that we are different. I am concerned that diversity, by trying to be so inclusive, which is of course a very positive approach, is in fact denying the existence of differences and say we are all more the same. But indeed, I want to suggest to you that a diversity mindset is one where we hold our differences, we honor them, and we are able to live with the discomfort that this awareness of our differences creates. To go back to my story of being in the US, I joined during my time at university a modern dance class. And there was many other students, of course, but one of the most gifted, in my opinion, was a very, as I said, gifted black dancer. His name was Avery. And I remember being very admirative, and I wanted to have a chance to be partnered with him, to have a dance routine with him. I thought that would be tremendously exciting, a great chance for me to learn and improve my skills. But I find myself concerned. I worried that maybe he had views about women, that maybe he had views about blondes, that maybe he had views about French people. I worried about how to go and talk to him, and might I make a faux pas? Would I embarrass myself? Would I embarrass him? And so because I was worried, I didn't do anything for a while. But that place of worry is a first step towards strategizing around doing something to come out of that place of fear to a more bearable place of wariness, a place where you are concerned about the other person, and you start to think about what might be the right approach to them. So you're stopping to be completely locked in yourself, and you start to think about what step you can take towards reaching out to that person. So that's that second step on your inner journey, cultivating wariness and being just concerned. Now step 3 is discovering tolerance. And here the questions I would like to ask you are: what judgment am I making about this person, and on what basis? What boundaries, what limitations am I applying to going towards this person, to dealing, engaging with this person? So you see, by that stage, having started from a place of fear, which was based on unconscious bias from watching too much TV as a kid, and having let go of that, having moved into a place of concern about what does he think about me, how do I approach him, how do I not put my foot in it, I was then moving to a place of tolerance. I took a good look at my worries to see just how founded they were. And I connected in particular to the good intentions that were motivating me wanting to approach Avery. It was the desire to make a new friend. It was the desire to share a dance. It was the desire to have fun. All good connections which took me from a place of rather negativity with all my fear and then concerns to a place that was much more positive and exciting. I realized that yes, I might go about approaching him not exactly in the most ideal way, but that I was probably going to survive some embarrassment, and that my positive intention was going to be the fundamental driver. And so in doing so, my mindset, as I've said, was really moving into a more constructive place, a place of connectedness, really wanting to engage with Avery, and a place of humility that, I don't necessarily know everything, and I may make a faux pas, but again, I can be humble and transparent about that and just have a go. So I ended up indeed going to speak to him and sharing just how admirative I was of his style and ability to dance, and what did he think about giving me the opportunity to dance with him. So that's how I discovered tolerance. And indeed, the last thing I thought I might share with you around that place of tolerance is that notion of compassion. Compassion for yourself, understanding your expectations and being light-hearted about your expectations of yourself and of the other person, and just being moving away indeed from judgments, views that are unhelpful and rigid, to a place that's much more flexible and indeed, as I've said before, light-hearted, a place of self-respect for your effort that you're going to make in reaching out to a stranger, and a place of respect for them, respect for whatever reaction you may elicit. So let's continue our journey, and now it's time to take the fourth step, that of acceptance. Here are the questions at this step. Can I accept this person for who they are without being demanding? Can I accept the validity of their perspective even when it differs from mine? So what happened when I went and asked Avery whether he would dance with me? Well, I have to tell you, he was surprised. And I don't know to this day what was the surprise about. I remember that when I noticed his surprise, it got me worried. My mind wanted to go and chew on it and try to find all the possible scenarios, some of them very negative, to explain why he was surprised. But I tried, again, in the spirit of self-compassion, to just hold that discomfort for a moment, to stay smiling, to stay connected to my intention, which was always positive: make a new friend, share a dance, have some fun. And I waited for him to either accept or decline, and I was going to be able to survive whatever the outcome was going to be. But clearly I remember that those few seconds that it took for him to say something were rather uncomfortable. Now, lucky for me, he said yes. He said yes, why not? But he actually asked me, he said, how do you dance? What's your style when you dance? So he asked me to show him a few moves. So I had to do that, and you can imagine how horribly self-conscious that was. And after I danced a little bit in front of him, probably not very well because I was so self-conscious, he said, "Oh, not bad for a white girl." But he was grinning when he said that. So, we all have stereotypes, and we can also play with them. They're not just things that separate us, but they're a place of humor as well, in the right circumstances. So we did dance. In fact, we developed a routine which we eventually performed during an amateur show. So that initial movement of connecting to Avery became something much more important over time. And what I remember is, as we practiced our routine in order to do a good job on the day of the performance, we often disagreed because we had different ideas about what kind of moves we wanted, for example, to include in our routine. We felt differently when it came to having stage fright. And we also felt differently about our responsibilities for performing in public. What was a public performance about? So lots of areas where we had potential disagreements. But what kept us together, what kept us rehearsing endlessly until we got it right, was our shared commitment to enjoying ourselves, to offering to the audience something that they too would enjoy. And so in that place of acceptance, acceptance is not agreement. It's not saying that you want to be the same as this other person. No, it's a commitment to a constructive approach that you share. That is what acceptance is, a commitment to a shared constructive approach. So step 5 on our journey: discovering, practicing, moving towards appreciation. And the questions at this last stage are the following. What can I learn from this person? How could knowing this person in turn contribute to making me a more accomplished individual? Do you remember the song Ebony and Ivory by Michael Jackson and Paul McCartney? Avery and I often talked about it. But it's not the song that we picked for our dance routine. No, we picked Madonna, we picked Vogue. That was more exciting as a song to dance on. But clearly that other song, Ebony and Ivory, was a little bit symbolic of the journey that we were on together. This journey of dancing with a partner of a different color. I had never danced with a black man before, and he had never danced with a white woman before. So a real journey of discovery, but a discovery also, as I said, of all these differences about our backgrounds, about being shy to perform, and all these things that are completely different from our color, but still made us very different. I learned so much from dancing with Avery. To this day, I remember him every time I have the opportunity to dance, which is too rare in my opinion. He also saw the benefit of the fact that I was very structured in my approach to choreography, and that I kept us on track and really prepared us well. So I think both of us took a great deal from each other, and I'd like to think that he hasn't completely forgotten me, even though our university days were a long time ago. And of course this experience, this very constructive, positive experience, has informed my approach to all of the black folks that I met afterwards. And in fact now I have a very positive bias. So with appreciation is the opportunity to learn, to through a new experience, to become somebody who has a greater knowledge, a knowledge of themselves, of course, but a knowledge of others and the world that we live in. So appreciation is that wonderful place of learning, personal development and growth. So this is what I wanted to share with you, this inner dialogue, this journey inside, to look at the thoughts we have about people that we're not necessarily just comfortable with, that we feel are different from us, and where we feel ourselves being held back. And if we work through hopefully some helpful questions to realize how we can move forward from being afraid of we don't know what, to being more appropriately concerned, to discovering that we can in fact tolerate all these concerns and worry and wariness, and that we can move forward and discover a place of acceptance, then we even have the chance to learn and appreciate. So I hope that this will provide food for thought. I hope that it possibly gives you a little bit of a recipe for next time you come across someone that you wish you were able to engage with, and yet you feel yourself being a little bit held back. Hopefully that will give you the first way to think about engaging with that someone who is different. As I said, in the next video we'll look at how to actually create, how to contribute to a dialogue that allows two people who are different to actually engage with each other, explore their differences, move away from fear, and embark on this journey of eventual appreciation and learning of one another. So this was a little bit of a different offering. It's not so much about skills that are useful in the workplace, but it's about making the most of the human relations that we find in the workplace, and I hope this will be interesting to you. I will talk to you again about diversity next time, and I look forward to it already. In the meantime, as usual, I would love to hear what you thought, and so don't hesitate to comment in the box below this video, or to send me an email, and my address is appearing on the screen right now. In any event, thank you so much for watching, and take very good care, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye bye.